Okay, I want to go over the last couple of things about LinkedIn because we've gone through many different portions of LinkedIn and we've learned a lot, but there still is so much more to learn about how LinkedIn can be a resource for you as a physician. So some of the things that we have actually talked about and have covered, we've created an account, we've built a profile up from the ground up. We've changed our privacy and communication settings and shown you how to connect with people and companies, influencers, channels, and how to join groups. Showed you how to create jobs and how to create groups and how to create company pages that allow you to extend your LinkedIn profile and allow you to connect with even more people. I've shown you how to write recommendations and create endorsements for those that you are connected with. I've shown you how to share profiles out to other social media sites and how to export a profile so you have a print version of someone's profile. And the last thing I showed you how to do was how to close your account. So that seems like we didn't really cover a lot with that little list there, but every part of the process of LinkedIn is a lot more in depth than most other social networks. So there still is a ton more. We did not go into the premium accounts. We did not go into the tools and talent recruiting and the developer APIs. We didn't go into a lot of other things, but the idea for this video was to give you the basics of how LinkedIn works so that you can then discover more on your own. Can you do what I just showed you in all these videos and that's it? Absolutely. You can go no further than what I've shown you here, but you can absolutely take it even more further. So let's talk about LinkedIn for personal use and just recap what we've talked about. It's the best network to connect with professionals, period. Professionals do not want to be bogged down with cat photos and memes and other things from public social media sites that are kind of clutter. They're great for talking with friends and family and whatnot, but professionals don't want to see that. They want to get good information up to the minute and be able to connect with those people that are important to them professionally. So this is next to other social networks like Doximity and Sermo, which are even more niche related. They are only for healthcare professionals. They're only for physicians. This is the best semi-private social network that lets you connect with other professionals. Now I say semi-private because you still have to think like a publisher and post like a friend on LinkedIn, just like you would with Twitter and Facebook. And the reason is that even though the environment and the atmosphere is more conducive to professionals, that your opinions are encouraged and posting and replying to things are a little bit more encouraged and expected here than compared to other networks, you still want to be very thoughtful on how you post and the kind of language that you do use because, again, LinkedIn is not HIPAA compliant and you really want to be connecting with patients unless there is a professional reason to, in which case you want to make it absolutely clear with them that the relationship with them on LinkedIn is purely a professional one, not one of patient and physician relationship. So LinkedIn is a little bit more of a leeway with that compared to like Facebook and Twitter, where you want to keep your professional relationship away from patients. If you have patients that you do want to connect with on a professional level, you should be very clear in your statements for that. So building a profile creates opportunities to get hired and to hire someone and become a trusted source of information. When you're posting a lot of information through Facebook, you're one of millions of people. With LinkedIn, you're one of millions, but the crowd is infinitely smaller, and the subject matter is infinitely smaller. So it's very easy for you to become a trusted source, a media outlet in your own right on LinkedIn. So as you continue to build your profile and build it up, you can have opportunities that will allow you to move across the country, get a better position. These are all job-related opportunities that can happen. As well as the more that your profile is built up, if you post a job, people are going to want to flock to you and apply because they can see how long you have been in your particular field and what recommendations and endorsements that you have and what you've done. People want to work for people that they're confident about. So there's a lot of ups for having a really filled out profile. It also works exceedingly well as a news aggregator and works seamlessly with your news feed. So the different channels and news information that you get gets automatically put into your news feed. But if you want to delve into the digital newspaper that LinkedIn is, it's very easy to find lots of news resources from the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Huffington Post, to pretty much you name it, that's getting pulled in from other places into LinkedIn. And then because of the high security and protocol, the environment inside of LinkedIn tends to be less focused on frivolity and more focused on work. Meaning, like, you're not going to get the cat photos. Maybe you will. It'd be very rare if that happens. But people are more interested on LinkedIn to talk about professional topics. They're not so much interested in, frivolous activity. And for good reason, too. You don't talk about much of that stuff in professional live settings. You're not going to do about it on LinkedIn as well. So LinkedIn has cultivated the atmosphere of this is for professionals. So you're going to see a lot more conversation and a lot more opinions than you would see elsewhere on other social networks because the environment, the people on LinkedIn understand how it's supposed to be used. So that is a great thing about using LinkedIn as a physician. So the last thing here is LinkedIn and healthcare. So next to Twitter, LinkedIn is watched a great deal for current trends by the media. Unlike Twitter and Facebook, media may reach out to you personally for an opinion or interview. The high security settings make connecting more discerning and more rewarding. So the Twitter and Facebook crowds, they get cited in the news a lot for just emerging trends, for how many people are feeling about one particular thing that's going on. You've seen it in the news many times now. It's actually part of how the news does its reporting. LinkedIn is a little bit more discerning, where you might have a journalist or a reporter who is following a certain conversation or a topic or a trend, and they can then connect with you personally to find out your opinions and maybe schedule an interview with you. So that's something to take into consideration, because this, in like more places, as you think like a publisher and more like a friend, you got to post like a friend, that you have a greater chance for an individual type of situation where you might be approached by a journalist to give your thoughts and opinions, which is great because if you can connect with the media and talk about primary care and talk about how it's necessary, it's actually a really great and meaningful way to talk about your field. So it lets you connect with colleagues that is more appropriate than public social media, allowing for greater control of messaging. So what I mean is that you might be using Facebook for friends and family, but you might not want to connect with, colleagues or coworkers on Facebook because of the posting ideas. Again, you might be sharing on your personal Facebook page, a lot of information that's fun for your families, but you don't feel it's necessary or appropriate for some of the people that you work with or that you deal professionally with. So the idea is use LinkedIn for only your professional connections and settings, and use Facebook more for your personal stuff, for your personal account. And that way you keep the world separate, in that way that you're not cross-posting back and forth. So if you are using Facebook for personal use, you can send more personal messages. If you're using LinkedIn for professional use, it allows you to have greater control of the type of messaging you have, because you don't have to worry about who else is going to see this. To an extent, you're just connecting on a professional level. Now, the last part here is probably the biggest thing, is healthcare professionals use it more compared to public social networks for more meaningful direct connections. This just kind of ties back to what I just said, is that LinkedIn has cultivated this atmosphere that this is for professionals, that this is for professional communication, and your personal life and your professional life are two very distinct facets of your personality. So the conversations that can happen on LinkedIn can be a little bit more direct. You can interject your own opinions about things, and it's more expected and more tolerated and less miscategorized and less misconstrued compared to Facebook or Twitter, where people can take things and miscategorize them any which way they feel like. Not to say that it doesn't happen on LinkedIn, but the atmosphere is more conducive to actually reply and be part of the conversation. So I hope that this has given you enough information about LinkedIn. It's a fantastic resource for professionals and for physicians. I think it was one of the things that is very necessary for physicians to connect with each other and connect with other healthcare providers in a meaningful way. And if you have any questions at all, you can always feel free to email me. You can hit me up on LinkedIn. You see my profile more times than I care to actually look at it. You can also email me at tmckenna@pafp.com. And then you can also follow me on Twitter at PAFP and F. And also find us on Facebook. So thank you very much.